Okay, welcome to the Supply and Demand Trading Podcast. This is podcast number 2. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about multiple time frame analysis and basically just going over the importance of using multiple time frames. When I first got introduced to it, like watching Sam Side videos, if you watch my other podcast, the first one, I talk about my journey and how I found supply and demand, so check that out. But when I first started listening and watching the Sam Siden videos, they do talk about multiple time frame analysis. Like you talk about how he's looking at a zone on the daily, and then he'll redefine that zone on the 4 hour or the 1 hour or whatever. And I didn't really think it was that important. Like when I first started out, so I thought like, oh, if I want to do day trades, I'm looking at the daily. If I want to take longer swing trades, I'm going to take them based off of the weekly. Like I'm just going to go find a zone on the weekly and I'm going to take that zone. If I wanted to do like a day trade, I would just go to the 15 and look for a zone in the 15 and take it, not considering the higher time frame, which is if you trade supply and demand properly, you know that how important that is. So I learned a little bit more, watch different YouTubers that trade supply and demand, like Moneyball Austin, another shout out for him. And he really went over the importance of multiple time frame analysis and how you always want to be looking at the bigger picture and to know where you are in that bigger picture. Because you could be buying, like one of my first trades I ever took, it was on natural gas, and the zone itself on that time frame, I think it was on the 1 hour, looked amazing. Like it was such a nice zone. It took out it was a nice demand zone. It took out a bunch of supply above, and it was like a good confirmation trade. Like broke the momentum line, everything. Like the zone itself was perfect, but my higher time, I was looking at the higher time frame, but I didn't notice a supply zone. I was basically buying right in a supply zone, even though the demand zone I was buying at in the lower time frame looked great, looked basically perfect. It didn't work out, and it might not have been because I bought it in the higher time frame zone, but it definitely decreased my odds by not considering where I was in the higher time frame. So you could be looking to buy on the 1 hour, which is totally fine. You can buy on whatever time frame you want, but you got to take in consideration like the daily or where you're at in the higher time frame based on your sequence. So it's extremely important. Just looking at multiple time frames, like you got to have at least three, right? So now I'm constantly looking at, I'll take trades in the 5 minute. Lately, I've been taking trades based on a 5 minute zone inside of an hourly zone. So I'm using the hour as my curve, and then my entries on the 5 minute. I've been taking confirmation trades. So I wait for price to get into my hourly zone, and then I look for confirmation on the 5 minute. And I've just been taking trades like that. And if you were to just pull up a chart of the 5 minute and you were to map out all the zones, all the 5 minute zones, like not all of them are gonna work, and a big part of that is where you're at in the higher time frame. Because when I first started watching Sam Side videos, I'd watch him and I'm like, oh, that zone worked, but the other 5 minute zone didn't work, and I just never really understood that. And it was because maybe the zone was a little higher or lower or in the middle when the 5 minute zone he took was at at inside a higher time frame. He just didn't really say that, which they don't want to give out all the information because people pay for that online trading academy. But so it's understandable, but still, you need to know where you are in that higher time frame. I can't stress the importance of that. It's all, but even when you're assessing your trend, it's all in the higher time frame, right? Like obviously trend matters in your intermediate time frame and sometimes in the entry time frame as well. But the trend on the higher time frame is extremely important. You want to know what the trend is on the higher time frame so you know whether to be looking for selling up or if you need confirmation. Because if the trend's down on the higher time frame and you're going to be looking for buys, you need confirmation every time, in my opinion. I don't like to set and forget if it's counter trend. So that trend, and then I do sometimes take a trade in that's not in my higher time frame zone, I'm not within it, but I'm still considering my higher time frame zone when I take that trade. Like if there's just kind of a pocket of nothing to the left on my higher time frame, then I'm going to be looking for shorts. I guess shorts or longs doesn't matter, but let's just say there's a pocket of nothing to the left. Like there's not a lot of demand, and I'm going to look for shorts to ride that higher time frame down. And I'll use that higher time frame for my second target, because I take two positions. In my first target, I'm looking for an opposing zone on my entry time frame, and then usually for my second position, I'm looking for the opposing zone on the higher time frame. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I really want to say about multiple time frame analysis. It's definitely needs to be used for sure. It's completely necessary. It's a must. It's something that I never took into consideration at first, never really took seriously. And then I kind of experienced it firsthand by taking trades that weren't in the higher time frame zone and just having at least a little bit of experience in the markets, and finally realized how important it is. So maybe in the future I'll make a multiple time frame analysis video. But for now, that concludes this podcast. Hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe and give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and hopefully I'm going to try to make more podcast videos and tutorial videos. So thanks for listening if you made it this far. Appreciate it.